Okay, so we're going to review the three-dimensional shapes that we talked about yesterday. We're going to start with the cube. All the faces of the cube are a square. So I can call any of these two squares that are parallel of each other the base. So I could say this side's the base and then this side is the base. And if I were to unfold it, I would wind up with the net of the cube, and when I unfold it, I would call this the base and this the base. They're opposite each other. They're parallel each other. And it's made up of 6 squares, and you have to have one on each side so that when you fold it up, it will create your cube. Then we also have the rectangular prism, and I could say that any of these rectangles are the base as long as it was opposite of each other, parallel to each other. So if I go ahead and say this is the base and this is the base, okay, those would be the bases of my rectangular prism. And then when I take its net and I unfold it, I would have the bases here and here, the 2 square bases, and then everything else is a rectangle. So that would make our rectangular prism. Now, remember that the prisms are named by the shape of their base. So if I had a hexagonal prism, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because it has 6 sides, everything else is a rectangle. All the other faces are a rectangle except for its 2 hexagonal bases. So this would be the base, and this would be the base. And it doesn't matter which way I turn this, these are my 2 bases. And if I were to open up its net, then you would see when I unfold it that I have the 2 hexagonal bases and then everything else is rectangles. That's why it's a hexagonal prism, because it's made up of mostly rectangles and then it's 2 hexagonal bases. Another prism that we have is the triangular prism, and it gets a little bit confusing to identify its base because sometimes it doesn't sit on its base. Okay, it's got 3 rectangle sides and 2 triangle sides. Well, the triangles are opposite of each other. Those are going to be our bases, because I can only have 1 or 2 bases. So even if I turn it like this, my bases are still here and here. If I turn it like this, my bases are here and here. And it's a little bit easier to see when you open it up, because when you have the triangular prism and we unfold it, we see the 3 rectangles and then the 2 triangle bases. And these are the bases because we can only have 1 or 2 bases. Then we look at the pyramids, and I have a square pyramid. It's named by its square base. The other bases are triangles. So it only has the 1 base, the square base. Okay, everything else is a triangle. And when I unfold it, I have all the triangles, the 4 triangles, and when I unfold it, you can see there's the square base in the middle, and it's named for its base. And this would be the square pyramid. We have another pyramid called the triangular pyramid, and it's made up of all triangles. It's got triangle faces and a triangle base. So if we call that the base, because there's only 1 of these triangles, the other 3 form the rest of it, this would be our triangular pyramid. And if we take a look at its net, you'll see it's made of triangles with a triangle base. And if you open it up, you'll see the triangle base in the middle, made up of triangles. So it's a triangular pyramid. We also have the cone. Okay, it has the circle base. And then when we unfold it, when we unfold the cone, we have this circle base. And then we have this kind of almost a semicircle, but not quite. And you have to pay attention when you see this on paper and you're answering questions. You've got to be able to match the net up to the shape because it has to be able to fold to turn into that shape. So this would be the net of a cone. And then our last shape is the cylinder. And it has the two circle bases. And it's kind of easy to tell what the base is on the cylinder. Okay. And if we unfold the three-dimensional representation of the cylinder into the two-dimensional representation of the cylinder, then we get our two circles, bases, and then our rectangle made up of all these little rectangles. But it's really just one big rectangle and two circle bases that make our cylinder. And that is our three-dimensional shapes shown in two-dimensional form as their net.